When you think of the most advanced, life-saving equipment the United States Army has ever deployed, what comes to mind? Drone surveillance? Night vision? Maybe armored MRAPs? The truth is, the most flawless, highly calibrated detection system in the U.S. military doesn't run on lithium batteries, and it wasn't built in a top-secret lab. It runs on water, kibble, and the unbreakable bond it shares with its handler. It has a heartbeat. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're talking about the silent heroes of the battlefield. The ones with 4 legs. Staff Sergeant David Miller was an infantryman who thought he had seen it all. But nothing prepares you for the K-9 program. You don't just get assigned a military working dog. You have to earn their respect. David's partner was a 70-pound Belgian Malinois named Titan. Titan wasn't a pet. He was a highly trained, specialized soldier. His rank, by military tradition, was actually 1 rank higher than David's. Why? So the handler always remembers to treat the dog with the utmost respect. This is the story of 2 soldiers, 1 devastating patrol, and a promise that refused to be broken. When you think of the most advanced, life-saving equipment the United States Army has ever deployed, what comes to mind? Drone surveillance? Night vision? Maybe armored MRAPs? The truth is, the most flawless, highly calibrated detection system in the U.S. military doesn't run on lithium batteries, and it wasn't built in a top-secret lab. It runs on water, kibble, and the unbreakable bond it shares with its handler. It has a heartbeat. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're talking about the silent heroes of the battlefield. The ones with 4 legs. Staff Sergeant David Miller was an infantryman who thought he had seen it all. But nothing prepares you for the K-9 program. You don't just get assigned a military working dog. You have to earn their respect. David's partner was a 70-pound Belgian Malinois named Titan. Titan wasn't a pet. He was a highly trained, specialized soldier. His rank, by military tradition, was actually 1 rank higher than David's. Why? So the handler always remembers to treat the dog with the utmost respect. This is the story of 2 soldiers, 1 devastating patrol, and a promise that refused to be broken. The bond didn't happen overnight. It started back at Lackland Air Force Base in Texas, the absolute epicenter for military working dog training. For weeks, David and Titan were put through the ringer. Obstacle courses, simulated gunfire, explosives detection. At first, Titan was stubborn. He tested David, but David didn't quit. He slept on the floor of the kennel next to Titan. He fed him from his hands. By the time they got their deployment orders, they weren't just a man and a dog anymore. They moved as 1 single entity. When David's heart rate spiked, Titan's ears pinned back. They were completely dialed into each other. Then came Helmand Province, Afghanistan. The sandbox, 110 degrees in the shade, and the air constantly tasted like copper and dust. When your walking point in Helmand, every single step you take could be your last. The dirt roads were laced with IEDs, improvised explosive devices, and David's job, with Titan leading the way on a short leash, was to find them before they found the platoon. Ask any infantry guy who has walked behind a K-9 unit, and they will tell you straight up that dog is their guardian angel. Day after day, Titan worked the dirt, his nose sweeping left to right. And then it would happen. Titan would abruptly stop, his body going completely rigid. He would sit down and stare perfectly still at a patch of unremarkable dirt. That's it. That simple action meant Titan had just saved 10 American lives. David would kneel down, toss Titan his favorite rubber Kong toy as a reward, and whisper, "Good boy, we get to go home today." Titan wasn't doing it for medals. He wasn't doing it for patriotism. He was doing it for his dad. He was doing it for David. For 6 months, they were the most effective IED clearing team in the battalion until the night the ground gave way. It was a night patrol, pitch black, operating under night vision goggles. The call sign came over the radio that they were Oscar Mike, on the move. The valley was too quiet. Any combat veteran knows that quiet usually means the enemy is watching. Suddenly, the silence was shattered by the deafening crack of a PKM. Machine gun. Ambush. The platoon took heavy contact from 3 sides. Tracers lit up the night sky like deadly green laser beams. David hit the dirt, pulling Titan down with him. They were pinned behind a crumbling mud wall. The noise was absolute chaos. But in the middle of the firefight, an RPG, a rocket-propelled grenade, slammed into the wall just yards away from David. The shock wave was massive, but before the shrapnel could reach David, Titan moved, acting on pure instinct to protect his handler. The Malinois leaped across David's body, taking the brunt of the blast. The dog let out a sharp yelp and collapsed in the dust. The next 10 minutes were a blur of adrenaline and terror. The platoon laid down suppressive fire, beating back the ambush. But David wasn't holding his rifle anymore. He was kneeling in the dirt, his hands covered in blood, pressing a trauma dressing against Titan's side. The dog's breathing was shallow. His eyes, usually so alert and fierce, were dull and searching for David. David keyed his radio, screaming over the gunfire for a medevac. "Dust off! I need a bird now. We have a wounded soldier." When the Black Hawk helicopter finally chopped through the sky and landed, kicking up a massive dust storm, David carried all 70 pounds of his bleeding partner onto the bird. He refused to let go of the leash. As the medics worked on Titan in the back of that chopper, David pressed his forehead against the dog's head, whispering over the roar of the engines, "Stay with me, buddy. You promised. You stay with me." Titan survived the flight, but his war was over. The shrapnel had done too much damage to his back leg. He was medically evacuated all the way back to the States. David, however, had to finish his deployment. For the next 4 months, David walked point without his partner, and every single veteran will tell you, losing your K9 downrange is like losing a piece of your own soul. The silence at the end of the leash was deafening. When David finally got his DD-214 and officially separated from the Army, he had only one mission left. The military classifies working dogs as equipment, and the adoption process for a medically retired K9 is wrapped in miles of bureaucratic red tape. But you do not tell an infantryman he can't have his brother back. David fought the paperwork. He made the calls. He waited for months. Tamias metaphor, ties. And then came a cold morning at a cargo terminal in Texas. A large transport crate was rolled out onto the tarmac. David stood there, his heart pounding in his chest. The latch clicked open. Out stepped a Belgian Malinois. He was missing a back leg, and his muzzle was a little more gray. But the moment Titan caught the scent of the man standing 20 feet away, his ears perked up. He didn't just walk. He hobbled as fast as he could, launching himself into David's arms. The big, tough combat veteran dropped to his knees on the concrete, burying his face in Titan's fur, crying like a child. The soldier who saved his life downrange was finally home. To all the handlers and the K9s who walk point so the rest of us can sleep safely. Thank you. If this story moved you, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video to honor our four-legged heroes. Leave a or a paw print in the comments below. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you in the next one. Video created by Subedi Amemrak.